have 0 copies of History Banali in my deck.
Which is great. We are playing a Golgari Mirror. Now, there are differences in the list. You are playing the version that won this most recent Magic Online Pro Tour qualifier.
I'm playing the list that took second.
Second.
Yeah, I didn't want to play Doom Whisperer. I don't think that card is good in the mirror, so I don't think that list is going to catch on.
We should have tried. I mean, it beat Golgari. You're playing second place.
Yeah.
And I'm still currently going to keep playing Steve Mann's 5-0 list. He Facebooked about it. It's out there here, obviously. You can see the list on Twitter or with the bot link, I am assuming.
Yeah,
and
exclamation point versus deck lists.
Yeah.
In the chat.
And you'll be able to check this deck list out. But it is designed against Control and Golgari Mirrors based on more ramp, better ramp, playing Druid of the Cowl, so you can play the Golden Demise out the sideboard, and you don't have to worry about sweeping up your own mana accelerant. But also,
doesn't die to opposing dead weights.
It doesn't oppose. Yeah, exactly. And another good thing is you can finality it if it's like the only creature that's going to live and keep your creature around. And now you have a 3/5, which is a pretty decent body in a lot of matchups.
This is pretty good in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
3/5 blocks a 4/3 J-Light Ranger cleanly, blocks basically everything else.
Yeah, it's something that has to be. It becomes a creature you have to deal with.
Yeah, which is great.
And
anytime you can turn your mana creature into that.
Yeah, and with a bunch of Carnage Tyrants, that's the quote-unquote mirror breaker, so we're going to find out if it does its job.
So this is a pretty typical version of Golgari. I have 1 copy of Isareth, so that should be a cool one. It's a Death Touch, so I get to trade for
anything.
Yeah, for Carnage Tyrant.
But it can die to all the removal.
Yes.
That is the downside of Isareth.
It doesn't die to cast down.
That is true. It is legendary. And that's why you only play 1.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just going to shuffle up real quick. And I'm on the play again.
All right, we got a few questions here while y'all are shuffling up for game 1 of round 3. Juka Wall asks, what do y'all think about the mono blue aggro deck? Do you think it's viable in standard? Also, what do you think about it against like Golgari?
Against Golgari, it has a pretty good game 1, but after sideboard, when you bring in all of your cheap removal and duresses, the way that I approach this matchup is a lot like in modern Jund versus Infect. I take a lot of my win conditions out, and I have every single thing that can interact with my opponent, even duresses, anything, and I just try to 1-for-1 with them until they flood out or just draw the things that don't combo well together. And the matchup, I do feel like the more copies of Plague Crafter you have, the better that matchup's going to be, because it gets around like Spell Pierce and Dive Down.
Yep.
When they have one creature.
And Negate too,
And Negate, yeah. And so that card's really good in the matchup, but that deck I think is fine. I always have a fear when I play it. It's a really scary deck to play against, but my win percentage is quite high against it, but that might be because I approach the matchup correctly with the decks I play.
All right.
Hold on, I've got one thing to say on this.
My apologies.
It is, one, that is the kind of deck that I would 100% play every single time it is good. It's like my favorite way to play Magic with these like cheap blue creatures and tempo spells. I think the deck, if you want to just sort of have fun with a budget deck at your FNM and still have a decent chance of winning, I think it's good enough to win some matches. It is competitive, but I'm not going to be registering it at a major tournament, even though it is literally the archetype that I love the most in all of Magic. As much as I've hyped up History Finale and all those cards, I would play that mono blue deck every time if it was good enough.
All right.
All right. This is one more quick question. This is a lot of people have been asking this in chat. For all these Golgari decks that we've played today, both sides, none of you are playing Doom Whisperer, and since it won the PTQ, I know we answered this earlier, but we got a lot more people in the chat now, and they're all curious. Do you want to reiterate why Doom Whisperer might not be worthwhile in the Golgari deck, specifically for the mirror?
My opinion is it's a large investment that doesn't gain true card advantage if killed right away, and if you take the hit for once or twice, it might not be good enough. The ability to surveil is pretty relevant because the life totals don't really dwindle that fast in the mirror. Yeah. But at the same time, it's a large investment that doesn't give you a lot of value, and it can die to everything, like even Chupacabra.
Yeah, Chupacabra dies to Trophy, dies to Cast Down, dies to Vraska.
I feel, and also it gets worse after sideboard when Vivian Reeds come in and things of that nature. So, from my opinion, I want all my big effects to give me true card advantage, whereas
or be something like Carnage Tyrant that doesn't die to the removal.
Exactly. So that's why.
No, I completely agree. I think having your big threat die to Chupacabra is just kind of a wah-wah.
Yep. All right, well, we're going to start this game off, and I have one of the worst openers you can have, a lot of this card, which is something you don't want in your opening hand, and a rough start, but I am going to keep it.
My hand here is slow, but in the Golgari mirror, I think that's fine. Should be able to set up well to grind.
All right, well, we're going to shock,
You're at 18.
and I'll play a Seeker's Squire, reveal Jade Light, and keep that.
You just have not explored into lands at all, like ever.
Oh, I draw poorly. In the last 2 weeks, I have drawn poorly. All right. Nope. Wrong way.
I can't tell. Is that another Overgrown Tomb Shocking Brad, or is that a
No,
woodland?
it's a Woodland Cemetery.
It's a new
All right.
card. I did not
18 all.
recognize it.
Go.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's start with a Merfolk Branchwalker.
All right.
And I will keep that one on top since I have lands and play a land.
Mayday Maze, this is a question for you, Brad, while the game's kind of developing. There is no Eldest or Reborn in your deck. I know you chose Steve Mann's list specifically. Do you think there's a reason why he's not playing Eldest Reborn?
It's not that great. I feel like sometimes it's... Go.
Okay, so I'm at 16 from that attack. In case anyone was wondering, the Squire got through. And I am just going to protect my life total a bit here since I'm going to be ahead and deal with that Jade Light Ranger.
Yeah.
Pass the turn.
We're going to have to change his name to Brad Lawson. Is that?
Oh, this is bad.
His name becomes Bad Nelson. This is the Bad Nelson, not
Bad
the Good Nelson.
I don't like
Or
these
Bad
games.
Drawson.
All right, I'm just going to play a Druid and pass the turn.
Okay. Interesting to see no attack. Not sure why that is, but okay.
Well, I feel like this has a chance of dying because I don't have mana, and then you get... I don't want to trade
Yeah.
damage because I'm at low resources.
Okay, that makes sense. I am going to play a Jade Light Ranger and explore twice.
Sodium levels
And-
rising.
Gonna
Really?
agree.
I have a Carnage Tyrant in my graveyard.
Oh yeah, this does get from. Yeah, I guess that's fine. We'll just leave it there. I guess it's a powerful card. Play a forest, pass.
All right, well, we will find Finality, Jade Light, and Carnage Tyrant. Play a Swamp, play Jade Light Ranger.
Oh, you. Bad Drawson.
Go. This is why I like District Guides.
No, I'm starting to feel it. If you're not playing Wild Growth Walker, there's probably a lot better argument to be playing District Guide over.
I mean, I would probably have a
Jade
Carnage Tyrant in play right now if I had District Guides.
Yeah.
Attack you for 4. Trade these. Eldest Reborn. Get that other one. Pass the turn.
Oh, there it is.
Oh!
Woo! We got that one.
We got one.
We got one.
Trophy.
Yeah. And your turn.
Golgari versus Golgari is like watching a Metapod duel. Does anybody know what that means? What is Metapod?
You
Okay.
have 3 in hand.
Yeah.
I know one of them is a Carnage Tyrant.
Yes. Well, it took a long time to develop my mana.
Oh yeah, dude, just get some District Guides in there. Play more Elvish Rejuvenators. The body apparently on Jade Light Ranger is irrelevant. Just make sure you get your land drops. Holy crap!
Well, late game Jade Light Ranger lets you sift through your deck faster, which is nice. Like when the games are really late, it's nice to Jade Light Ranger.
Oh no, everyone's making fun of me because I don't know what Metapod is. And apparently, it's a Pokemon.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I mean, I wouldn't have remembered that.
Womp womp.
It also sounds like an equipment.
Todd is uncultured. No.
Metapod is the one that always uses Harden.
Shut up! I don't know. Leave me alone.
We literally talked about this unrelated to this video like 4 days ago.
Can we keep playing Magic and not worry about Pokemon knowledge?
Nope.
Look, I just talk to Twitch and they talk back at me and
So-
make fun of me. It's awful.
I could Vraska down this Druid of the Cowl,
Oh no.
which would be cool, but then my Vraska is vulnerable to a removal spell from Brad on my Chupacabra.
Kill
An
Jadelight.
attack for 3. Oh, if I've killed Jadelight, then Brad gets the Carnage Tyrant next turn, and I'd like to avoid that. But I don't think I can really afford, like, if I just lose my Vraska to a removal spell, which is reasonably likely for Brad to have, he hasn't cast many of them, then the Carnage Tyrant coming down a turn or two later doesn't really matter. So I think I'm going to try to set up to ultimately answer this Carnage Tyrant by starting with Fine Broker, bringing back the Eldest Reborn, and then playing a Secret Squire and hitting a land. And yeah, I haven't played a land. The 6th land came into play off your trophy.
You're right.
I'm going to do a quick shout out here. One of our subs in chat. Happy anniversary, 10 years to Charles from Tash. 10-year anniversary. Happy anniversary.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They said it would make.
Am I
your
getting
day.
doom weighted and is Carnage Tyrant dying?
No.
Also, this game looks really grindy, so I just figured I could just say whatever I want. It's fine.
No, you're good.
So you have 2 in hand.
Carnage Tyrant does look good here, and if you ever find Finality, just to sweep and still keep your Carnage Tyrant, it's a good way to break these giant board stalls that
Yes.
happen. I think that's really what Steve.
If it happened like quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, if
I
you just
could,
hit your land drops.
Yeah.
I guess I could just Vraska plus here. And then that means it's not going to die unless Brad has Trophy or Contempt. So I think that's going to be my plan.
Pokemaster.
So let's plus. Now we have enough power on the battlefield to even threaten to trade for the Tyrant.
Yeah.
Which might get blown up by a removal spell, but we'd still have our Vraska.
All right, I'm going to Ravenous Chupacabra, your Fine Broker, and I guess we just start threatening this Vraska through combat. So maybe I'm not supposed to attack with this, because this is just a clean trade.
Yeah, and then the Druid is a clean trade for the other 2, so.
Well, yeah, I'm not attacking
Yeah,
with the Druid, but trading off things is better for this later. All right.
It doesn't make it, trading off things doesn't make it easier for my Eldest Reborn to nab this, which you know about.
That is true, because if you just have 2 removal spells. All right, fine.
Yeah, and I have 1 removal spell,
I feel like this just isn't the right way to play this game. You have 3 cards.
Yep.
I do not feel good about this game. All right, I'm going to attack you.
Me? I will go to 9.
All right, and then I will say go and then do this in your upkeep.
It's better to maybe do it after a draw step, just because they have likelihood of drawing 1 more.
Sure, yeah, I'll just do a draw.
Well, on your end step, I was going to
Yeah, that's fine.
pull up one of these. So, oh, you wanted to do it after I drew?
Yeah, yeah.
So I drew this top card. And your Jadelight Ranger's in the graveyard.
These mirrors look pretty miserable.
You have 1 in hand.
Very fun. Lots of
Yeah.
decisions, but very long games.
Yeah, I honestly don't really like them. I mean, I'll play them, but I'm hoping that we find a more interesting way that they play out. They're just like, they're too interactive. Like you're just both trying to develop and interact, and it pretty much just comes down to who gets more velocity, but there's not much way to create it.
Splash blue for mnemonic betrayal.
That could be a way, but sometimes like I took a break this weekend from playing a lot on Magic Online. Had friends in town, and The last time I thought Scavenger was really good at keeping the graveyards clear
Yeah.
in the mirror.
Okay, so
Not a
dealing
lot
with
of people
Carnage
play it
Tyrant
anymore,
is going to
though.
start with rebuying the Fine Broker into the Vraska,
All right.
and then pass the turn.
Yeah. Memorial to Folly also just makes these games go way longer too. Just a lot of your lands are just awesome.
That was worst case scenario.
Or one of them.
I guess you had a Memorial. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I'm supposed to deal with this Carnage Tyrant. Are you attacking with the other Chupacabra?
Yeah. Now I want resources to trade, so you can't just Vraska tick up and threaten to trade with that.
Okay, well, I'll go to 2.
And your turn.
Sorry, we had
No.
the life totals wrong for a minute. Should be updated now. Apologies.
Now I have to try to not die.
Yeah, you have to die through a Ravenous Chupacabra, but also I can just bring back another Carnage Tyrant if it won't work.
The
Yeah.
Cruise Missile asks, where's the advantage bar at?
Yeah, this actually I felt really behind. Like, look at these Carnage Tyrants. I felt behind
Yeah.
this whole game, and now all of a sudden I'm like very far ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, if you don't have 6 power to trade with it, like, it's, and sometimes if you do have 6 power, you're like threatening to get blown out by a removal spell, so. Where's the, Brad Nelson, advantage.
I had a couple awkward spots in this game. Like I had the removal to set up the Eldest Reborn, but it was like if I -3 the Vraska the turn before, you like pretty easily just deal with my Vraska with attacking, and then even though I get to Eldest Reborn the Carnage Tyrant, you rebuy it. But then I guess I get then you just get to Assassin's Trophy the Eldest Reborn before I get your Tyrant back, and then you still have the Memorial the entire time. This Carnage Tyrant is just like I just couldn't beat it.
Or I can hold up Memorial to threaten your activation on any of my cards.
Okay.
So you have to pick your own.
Right now, I don't think I have a way to beat Memorial rebuying Chupacabra, because all I can do is make a 2/2 and potentially a 2/3, and then you just blow up the 2/3 and the 3, I guess 2/2, a 2/2 and a 1/2, and has me taking 1, and then the other Chupacabra attacks.
And this
kills
can
me.
attack, yeah.
Well, if you don't have a land, you need it to cast the Chupacabra.
No, I return it at end of turn.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. So yeah, that's 4 damage, and that's all I can do. Like I can Assassin's Trophy which also still just prevents 2 damage.
Yeah,
No, every single card in my hand only prevents 2 damage.
crazy.
So, and casting 2 of them doesn't do it. So
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm dead.
Well, I struggled a lot in the early game, but the Carnage Tyrant came down and then just won the game immediately.
Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, it kind of sat there for a while on a stalled board, but then the moment that you were able to keep the 6th power off his side of the battlefield, you were just threatening such large chunks of damage every turn, either on the Planeswalker or the face.
Yeah.
And he just has no way to get off the battlefield without clearing every other creature and then hitting you with Eldritch Reborn or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick 3-minute break, go to sideboard, and then field some questions. So get them in there while we are on our short break.
Well, one last thing I'll say, actually, is that an awkward part from my side of that game is I couldn't ever use my removal early to deal with your other creatures because I drew double trophy and you were stuck on lands.
Yep.
And that let you play Carnage Tyrant on a board that was larger than it otherwise would have been. So I also got punished for having Assassin's Trophies instead of other removal, which is going to happen. You still need to play some trophies.
I think that we're too afraid of giving the land away for when you said Assassin's Trophy sucks.
It's fine.
I think it's better than fine. Like, I
mean, in this
hate
case,
casting it
like
early,
giving the land was very obviously not
but
something I
it's
wanted
eventually
to do.
going to happen.
Sure, but
So,
the card I
like-
wanted to kill was your mana creature,
Oh,
Druid
sure.
of Cowl.
Oh yeah, that's fair. But I mean, this card also like killed your Eldritch Reborn and Vraska. Like that's just
That's
for
true.
2 mana. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Oh,
but
yeah.
if he was hitting you with trophy there, like you were stuck on land. So if he targets any of your early stuff,
but I'm going to eventually get out of it, and it's not going to matter
Sure.
in a Golgari Mirror.
no, that's fair.
Yeah. So like, I think you don't want to target that. You just do your own thing and develop. Assuming I'll develop, the game just gets to whoever does the last thing, and that's why Carnage Tyrant is a trump because I killed your trumps even though you had the advantage early.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're back with sideboarding in the Golgari Mirror. On my side, I unfortunately do not have any Carnage Tyrants to bring in, but I do have some powerful effects. We've got another copy of the Eldest Reborn, which will be one of my best ways to deal with a Carnage Tyrant.
Or get one.
Yeah,
for
or
yourself.
get one, exactly. And then another Fine Finality, just a great card going along, will catch me up if I'm behind. And then another Contempt to handle Planeswalkers. I am cutting one of my edict effects here, even though Brad is so heavy on Carnage Tyrants, because this one is just an ineffective card by itself. It's basically only good if it's dealing with a Carnage Tyrant.
Or it's fair, honestly. Like in this matchup, Carnage Tyrant, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's just so hard for that to set that up. And then I'm just cutting some of my least powerful cards, Seeker Squires. Brad's also trimming one there, just to ratchet up the power level in this long, drawn-out match.
Yeah, on my side, I'm going to be taking out some of my early game as well. I'm taking out one of my 3 Seeker Squires. I am afraid of just getting run over, but even when I'm getting, quote-unquote beat down, it's by still non-threatening creatures. And cards like Chupacabra, Ravish Chupacabra can potentially catch me up. So we're just going to play a little bit of a gambit of increasing the power of our deck by lowering the early interaction and just hope that this isn't one of the games where that can be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because the payoff is so big later in the game.
Otherwise known as a Llanowar Elves game.
Yes.
All right, a few questions from chat while y'all shuffling up for game 2. St. Crab asks, in a Golgari arms race, what do you think about potentially playing 1 or 2 Multani?
I thought about it. It can still get killed in that first turn. Like, what's your best play on the turn it comes into play? Get an Evolving Wilds and a Deadweight. That's like your play, really. And then super late game, it's going to be good. And maybe that's the way to go later on, but it feels like these games are kind of decided around turns 5, 6, 7, and that's not where that card's going to, like, both decks are going to have a ton of resources in hand still. The games can go super, super long, but it's on my short list of cards to use when splashing. Pretty much it's just that, Thief of Sanity and Negate as my splash.
You are confusing
Yeah.
Muldrotha with Multani.
Multani is the
star
green.
Star equal to lands and graveyard.
No, Vraska's Contempt is just getting too... Yeah, I understand it now.
Sure.
Vraska's Contempt is becoming more popular because of all the Planeswalkers, so it just gets hit by that side of it.
Okay, this is for Ross. Mr. Fax asks, is Izareth good for the mirror? Like, is it a good Value Town type card? Or, what are your thoughts on the card?
Yeah, I think that's the plan with it. It does die like 1/1 to Chupacabra, which is a bit of an issue without generating value. But if it stays on the battlefield, like it's going to do some good things, even with one activation or one trigger. It's a triggered ability, Brad. And the Death Touch aspect of it does counter Carnage Tyrant, like does trade with Tyrant. So I think it's important in this specific matchup as well.
Well, we've got a game plan.
I also have a game plan, and it's mulligan to a hand with lands in it.
All right. Well,
all right, a couple more questions while Ross is mulliganing. Grattan B asks, what do you think the best green beatdown deck is in Standard, Golgari or Celestia?
Well, for true beatdown, I mean, Golgari's not a beatdown deck.
No, like
I
the
think he means
Stompy
like
one,
Steely
the
Stompy.
Oh,
What's
the
best
Steely
splash?
Stompy? Oh, which is the
white or
best
green?
splash?
Yes.
By the look of it, it always feels like white, but maybe the best splash is black with fine finality somewhere in the mix.
I think that's the most common right now, just
Yeah,
for
it
trophy
is.
and finality.
Yep. I worked on the white splash because it feels so like streamlined to just have elephants and alongside Pelt Collector.
Yeah. Every time I see a deck like that, I just wonder why they're not white-based and playing all the great like white 2 and 3 drops, which
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
are
yeah,
better
I
generally
agree.
than
The
the green
cards
ones.
look
I
really
agree.
powerful in those decks for
It's
sure.
like Llanowar Elves and Steel Leaf Champion versus History Benalia, Knight of Grace, and Adonta Vanguard, and I generally think the white cards are then better.
Well, from my testing, they are just proven to be better. I tried a few times to make Stompy decks work in the first weekend of Magic Online, having the deck, or the true weekend, like not the sealed, not the pre-release, and it was not working for me. They were the worst. That deck yielded my worst results.
All right, just shout out to Flats9000 coming in with Twitch Prime sub. Thanks for being a part of Versus Live in the SCG Tour. We also have a question from Flats9000. I believe that's Jason Flatford. Used to work here for StarCityGames.com, one of our great judges. Best control deck against Golgari in the format. Do you think Jeskai, Esper, Grixis, just blue-black, just blue
I think
white?
it might. I think it specifically against Esper. I think or specifically against Golgari. I think it's Esper because of
Contempt.
Chromium.
Okay.
I think
Chromium the Mutable.
Chromium is actually pretty good in the matchup because it's just this big flash and it tries to end the game, and you exhaust all your resources in a few turns to do that. I think that card is actually pretty good against Golgari.
Russ, what do you think control-wise?
I'm torn between Esper and Jeskai. I like that I like that Esper has cleaner answers to the Planeswalkers, whereas the red removal in the Jeskai deck is more geared towards beating the small creatures, which Golgari doesn't really care about, even though they have a fair number of them. So having a clean answer to Planeswalkers is really impressive, but if you're going to play a matchup like the Golgari matchup, you know you're going to go long, you need the top of your deck to be good. Expansion Explosion is great there, so I'm torn between those two cards specifically. I tend to lean towards Esper, but if Expansion is really good.
All right.
My hand, however, is awkward.
I want it to be as
×2.
awkward as I need some time.
Okay.
Can we play no rush 20 on this game?
There's the potential that you get run over if the top of my deck is great. I think this is a keep still because this is a matchup where you don't want to mulligan. The games are going to go long. I'll have time to draw out of it.
Yeah.
And this card is good. It is horrible.
Put your hand a little lower for me, Ross. Right there.
All right.
Forest Land Royals.
Oh no.
Hey, that's a no. You said no
Go.
rush.
No rush 20.
No rush. What are you
No
doing,
rush
Ross?
20.
Forest attack you for 1.
Okay. That's,
You can go.
I
You're
accept
at
Be
19.
done.
Go.
Attack you for 1.
All right.
Forest go. You're at 18. The top of my deck hasn't been very good, Bradley.
All right. Well, let's Jade Light.
Yeah, that's what I was
Let's
hoping to
hit
do.
2 lands and have to move to discard. Gas. If this is the only time Brad gets card advantage out of his explore creature, that's when he has to discard.
Is it this? I feel like it's this.
That is scary. For Brad to discard not just a regular land, but a land that gets him value, means he's tapping out a lot in the next few turns, which means I'm about to get buried. Oh, yes. We are doing it now. Attack you for 1.
Fine. Block.
Sure. Got another one right in the holster.
Just finger guns.
Yeah, I'll trade for that one too.
4, 5. And I'll play a Folly in your turn.
Okay, had another one. That makes sense too.
Oh, Ross, you were. You don't even know how dead you are.
I mean,
It's sad.
I have a pretty good idea,
No, you
Todd.
don't.
My hand has 4 double black cards in it.
You don't actually know how dead you
You can
are.
go.
It's sad.
He probably has 3 Carnage Tyrants.
Wow, you may have called it.
No.
Attack for 1. Oh wait, no.
No.
Getting closer.
What? No, if he blocks, he can't hit you with the
Plague Spit.
Playcraft.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Go.
Good call.
Go with the source.
Yeah. Which of my double black cards would you like me to play? Perfect. Second black source.
Let's do
Exactly
it.
what I needed.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to find back this Llanowar Elves.
We're doing it.
You want to know something? These Golgari decks keep obliterating all these tournaments on Magic Online, yet
They
we
look
can't.
mopey.
They look
as all
so
get out.
bad on the Versus Live. We can't get them to function
Director,
ever.
we need an advantage bar. Advantage bar.
Are we going to get a third game out of this one?
Oh, pity game, 100%. We still
yeah.
got 30 minutes left in the broadcast. We gotta play another one.
We thought this match would go long. I gave you a quick one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I draw like Jade
Ross
Ranger,
buried-
District Guide,
No, it's just Ross buried him.
Ross bury him.
Yeah. Ross buried him.
Carnage Tyrant does look really good on the mirrors, though.
Yeah, it does.
It's really bad.
Oh, and how's Carnage Tyrant against Jeskai?
It's great.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I have like 2 Cleansing Nova main, 1 sideboard for that particular thing.
But what about 4?
It gets a lot harder when you get when you have a
And
bunch
4
and a
Memorials
bunch of finality.
And Duress.
If a lot of them start playing like Steve Mann's version, I might have to play like a couple of Silent Gravestones just to turn off the fine finality.
Really?
Something. I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of graveyard interaction, and it's just a one-mana
Turns
thing.
off
It shuts
Memorial
down
and Finebroker, too.
one of the best cards, or a couple of the best cards. Yeah.
I just feel like if every deck starts playing 4 Carnage Tyrants, you just don't play Control.
That's fair too.
Yeah.
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 That's just
It just hasn't happened yet, so I haven't really been worried
Yeah.
about it. But if that's how you beat the mirrors for Carnage Tyrant, like, okay, I'm just gonna play mono red and
Yep.
hope that I run you over before you play it.
I think that's why that's why like Steve Mann has like Moment of Cravings and Deadweights galore in his sideboard.
I look at
Yeah.
this hand, and I just think to myself, I'm going to lose to a Carnage Tyrant with this hand.
Well, let's play. I don't have a Carnage Tyrant in my hand.
I'm like, hand doesn't do anything early. I got some removal spells, so the game's going to go long, and you're just going to play Carnage Tyrant.
Let's play.
M. Kozler says, "What do you mean, don't play control?
Go. What do you?
That just doesn't make any sense to me."
That seems. Druid of the Cowl. Go.
It's good to be green.
Attack. I'll play a Jade Light Ranger. Ooh.
I'm at 19.
Ooh. See this.
So we're just
Now-
doing it. Now we're getting everything.
I think your turn. I think Jade Lights were mad at me for the first, like last week and this week, just because I said that District Guide is better than Jade Light.
You know what I just did?
I told Jadine Clarence that, and she's like, "I thought we were friends."
Yeah.
I was just thinking about trying to Assassin's Trophy my own land so I could get something back with Find Broker.
You can't.
But I can't do that.
Nope.
No, it's
Opponent.
permanent, dog.
No, it's opponent.
Oh, what?
It's permanent opponent controls.
Oh.
Can't assassinate your own stuff.
No.
Oh, I see what you mean.
That was a good draw, though. Chupacabra, your Druid.
Drew it down.
You can go.
I'm pretty sure that's my play. Yep.
I don't know about y'all, but I have had not very much success just getting things back with Golgari Fine Broker, and my opponent just always has
Go.
the nuts to get back.
Every cycle there's a card like that always works better for your opponents than for you. Okay, get back my Chupacabra.
All right.
Pretty good here. That's a nice one.
1, 2, 3.
4 cards, Brad.
4. Chupacabra.
Sure.
What are your overall thoughts about Vivian Reed in this format and in these Golgari decks specifically, Brad? Because
It's powerful.
I love it.
I go
It's
to
been
21.
very good.
Attack you for 3.
All right.
You're at 15.
My
You can
turn.
go.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm playing all these Crackling Drake decks and Firemind's Research, and every time my opponent casts Vivian Reed, it's just the most backbreaking thing imaginable.
Yeah, I have been a big fan of it. Attack. Your turn.
I'm at 18. I'm going to trophy your Vraska.
I'll go get a land.
Wow, Assassin's Trophy hitting a Vraska just feels like cheating.
It
Right.
is because I get Ryan Overturf in play.
Well, I meant like
I'm gonna say this is one of
it's
my
like
favorite
Vraska on
tokens from.
Vraska Crime.
This is one of my favorite tokens from the most recent years. I love Ryan's token.
It is excellent. I'm going to Chupacabra your Jade Light. I think that's better than playing the other creature in my hand. It just sets me up for better turns.
All right, my turn.
Yep.
I don't think Brad really got what I was saying. Just because Assassin's Trophy is Vraska killing something and taking their head, right?
Saving Brad from himself.
Wow, and a Carnage Tyrant off of the treasure. How do you beat this, Ross? You have Deadweight plus Eldritch Reborn?
Might.
Well, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, you got it.
It's not gonna
Go.
work. A Death Touch creature versus card. He just has a million removal spells, probably.
I will. Chupacabra it. Attack.
11.
And then I will find Broker back my Vraska. And your turn.
That's a yikes.
Yeah.
That's a good turn, Brad.
Find. Go.
Death Touch round 2.
Man, it's almost like he just got back a thing that kills it.
It's weird how these matchups work. Vraska.
I don't know what you want from me, Todd.
I don't know, man.
Attack.
Dude, I'm actually just loving this. This is just
Take
showing off, right?
I'm at
yeah,
one.
10.
This is Carnage
Rejuvenate.
Tyrant
Alright.
showing off, and I love it. This is how good it is. in the
Probably
game.
should have attacked with the Rejuvenator, seeing as if I blocked it, I was dead.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. All right, but I'll get a memorial for further punishment. Your turn. Well, this looks good in the mirror.
Yeah, I'm loving it. This man might be onto something.
It's okay, though. We got another Death Touch creature.
Wow, nice. Dude, do it. You better do it, Brad. You better do it. Do the thing that it's designed to do.
What's life totals?
I'm
at
at
one.
1. You're at 15. You gonna find finality?
Leave him up!
Probably put the cameras here.
and I'm going to put him here.
All he wants is to keep
Yeah, you're
just
dead.
Carnage
Yeah.
Tyrant. for
Yeah.
him, and then
Nice.
attack you to death. Yeah, on Arena
Yeah.
it would be like the dinosaur just smushing him in. And
I haven't even seen Carnage Tyrant's animation yet. I bet it's great.
I haven't either. It might be great.
All right, now that was impressive.
Yeah.
Barman Atlanta. Should
Get
Carnage
this one into
Tyrant,
here.
should Carnage Tyrant evolve and become Planeswalker? Should it catch its spark after that showing? Just the first Dino Planeswalker.
That would be pretty great.
All right,
No.
let's talk about the Carnage Tyrant and talk about the Golgari decks. Let's
Well,
go.
I don't even know what to say. Everyone saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
There
there
there's
wasn't
not
a lot
much
of
to say.
nuance there.
No.
Like you got to 6 mana, you cast a Carnage Tyrant, and the game ended.
Because the rest of the game was you having to deal with Carnage Tyrant, but doing whatever you can to build a board, and I get to just pick apart your board and put pressure on you.
Yeah.
And usually I play a 6-drop, you deal with my 6-drop, I play another big thing, you deal with that thing. That's what it broke. It broke
Yeah.
that symmetry of threat,
Haymaker on
answer, threat,
Haymaker, yeah.
answer.
And the only way I could think to get around that, other than just playing your own Tyrants, which is the obvious one, is to get really aggressive and force you to use your removal early. And then when you play Tyrant, like I can rebuild and then hopefully trade away for it. But if that happens, I'm probably behind in the value race. Like you'll be at 6 or 7 life or 10 life, but I'll be behind a card or two, and then I'll have to spend some cards dealing with the Tyrant, and then you're just will win the game going long.
Yeah, no, it feels really gross. Also, just like the fear when you put a Carnage Tyrant into play is I want to make sure it doesn't die, but even if it does, I have 3 more along with all the memorials, all fine finalities, the fine brokers.
Yeah.
Like you
Maybe
like
I'm supposed to never trade, so I have a big enough board to deal with it.
no, I think you're just the deck disadvantage is too big if you don't have your own Carnage Tyrants. I think that's just the way that this deck has to move. But we've already seen at the beginning of the video that builds like this might be vulnerable to the white-based aggressive decks already. So we might have found our answer immediately, even though like we could have engineered this video to be like, look at how good, we found the answer. But no, we found it right away.
Yeah, we should have played the mirror first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Built the narrative that way.
And yeah, I would have built the narrative for that.
Hell,
But
maybe you can beat the red aggro deck, beat them with red aggro decks too. Just anything like hyper aggressive.
I do think that the Carnage Tyrant, the big stuff gets sideboarded out, and the important cards can be put in the sideboard. If you see like this sideboard already is like, here's all the stuff for the anti-creatures, right? It has 2 Vivian Reeds, a Carnage Tyrant, and then Duresses and cheap removal spells. Like it's already built with the Mirror in mind game 1, and has a very limited sideboard for the other matchups.
Yeah.
So I mean it's already built for that in mind. I think game 1 you're going to struggle with these decks, but I think you have a better chance of finding a configuration of this deck with its core intact to beat red than you are against these history decks. I think these history decks is where the format should be moving, and we should be figuring out how powerful and potent and the best way to build them is. And I think that is how we're going to figure out how to beat Carnage Tyrant or Golgari in general. And it's not going to be around figuring out the best way for Control to handle this or the best mirror breaker in the Golgari mirrors. I think for anyone trying to win a RPTQ or win a PTQ this weekend, win their local events, there's no open this weekend.
No, there's
but
an open this weekend in Dallas.
Oh, there is an
It's a
open.
modern open, but we will be having a standard classic.
Yes, anyone
so-
wanting to crush that, I feel like history is going to be involved. I think that's the future, and you wrote about it today, and everyone should go take a look at that article because History Benalia, Knight of Malice, like I didn't think like Knight of Grace or Malice or Knight of Grace, but Knight of Grace or Malice, I didn't think they were going to be main deck cards, but in a format where there's a lot of black creatures, and there's Golgari is
black
like taking
removal,
up huge chunks of a metagame, it seems fine.
And even one of the reasons I like it in this shell, and especially with green, is that even in the matchups where your opponent isn't black and it's just a 2/2 first strike, if you get 1 counter on that, that's a sizable body. Now you're a Chain Whirler, and it's real. Renovated Locks It On is going to be with it, regardless of what colors you pair. But with the green, you also get Flourish. You get and you have History too to make it bigger, and you have Tristani. So the Selesnya deck has a million ways to make it a lot bigger and make this really potent threat. So I'm a fan, and as I said, that's what I would be on this weekend if I had to play standard, those 16 cards and figure out the rest.
Yeah.
I think a Boros list could be good because I think Rekindling Phoenix is great, and
I do too.
I think the mana is workable between History and Phoenix in a 2-color deck. I just one Guildgate was enough. So
All right. Quick shout out to Demon6x6 coming in with a Twitch Prime sub. Thanks for being here. We also got a quick question from the Hex Mage. Do you think Azoni is a good answer for the Selesnya matchups?
No, I do think Azoni is good in the mirrors, but Carnage Tournament might be better. And I don't think against Selesnya just making a bunch of 1/1 bodies. It's great to draw cards when we're both trying to top deck, but no, it just feels like Selesnya does have a decent matchup against Golgari, but maybe if I just have to sit down for like 5 hours, learn the matchups, learn what's important, and or just my sample size is really small, and I just keep getting like clowned. I mean,
last week against Todd, he had the land Arch of Araska a couple times, and that was really critical. And he had that early both games.
Like
and
I said, small sample
I think you would have won game 3 and if you just found a fine finality the entire game.
Or Vraska Relic Seeker. You didn't have
was the card.
You didn't draw it the entire match.
So
no.
Yeah, so any of those, you just didn't find your big cards, and I think you were favored to. So some bad luck in that one game. But the reason I bring that up is because I don't like trying to play Azoni against them because you are going to be playing. I mean, it's fine, but I don't want to be playing their game against them.
No.
If they're going to march the multitude to you, their march is always going to outpace your Azoni.
Yes.
So it's not like the only way that Azoni is going to help you is by staving them off for that one turn before you untap into a sweeper. But if you're going to try to do that, I think you're better off just trying to play a single large threat and have a bunch of sweepers, and then you can just sweep them early before the march becomes a huge issue. And that's what Brad was set up to do there. He just didn't find half of the combo.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of questions coming in, and we still got about 20 minutes left to do Q&A.
Okay.
This is going to be a long one. We're not going to be playing any more games of Magic, but if you have any questions for Ross, Brad, or myself, make sure to ask them. Tag us at SCG Tour. We had a 20-bit cheer from Sloopy Goopers along with a question. What do you think is the most underrated deck / strategy in Standard right now? Because I think it's Jeskai Control, because Brad always yells at me for playing control decks.
No, I think Jeskai,
mid-range.
what would it be underrated?
Yeah,
I mean, it was the second most popular deck at the PTQ. Had one of the top 8, like 8 more in the top 32.
Yeah, I don't
7 or
think
8
it's
more.
under.
I think people have figured out that control decks are good. I think the Selesnya decks dropped off really quickly after doing very well at the Team Open, and then we saw a smattering them in the PTQ.
I mean, did Selesnya do really well at the Team Open? I mean, it took first and second in teams, but it wasn't anywhere else in the top 32, and it didn't do well in the Classic.
Or the PTQ that weekend.
Yeah, or the PTQ that weekend. So I actually think that the Selesnya decks in those builds, the token builds, were just bad decks. And the more I played with them, the more I played with Saproling migration and stuff. But like, I think if you build it like you're doing and March of the Multitudes is somewhere in the deck, maybe it's even in the sideboard for Golgari.
Yeah.
And I could see something really working there. But I liked the way that your deck felt.
Yeah, this is more of the white aggro shell than a token deck, which makes sense because that Sapling Migration is a pretty underpowered card. Like you cast it on turn 2, and if you're not immediately using it to convoke out a venerated Loxodon, it's not looking that good. And even the 2/2s, once Loxodon comes down, don't look that good.
And also in those early turns when I played against tokens, if they didn't have Amara, it just felt like the start was weak. If it wasn't History or Amara into convoking, is it not Amara?
Oh, no, it is. You're good.
Okay, you're smirking.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay, but like there's so many different curves that your build had that felt like powerful starts.
Yeah, because it was definitely built along the white aggro line. And we saw people move in that direction. We saw some Selesnya decks that had things like Snubhorn Sentry and Benelish Marshal. I just came to the realization that I didn't want Benelish Marshal in my deck. One, because it skewed your mana a lot, but more so because it was also just vulnerable to all these things. It dies to Deafening Clarion, so any pump it gives to protect your other creatures from Clarion isn't good. It dies to all the removal that people are playing. Lightning Strike, Justice Strike, Cast Down, Assassin's Trophy, Chupacabra. It literally dies to everything. So it's this really powerful card if it stays in the battlefield, but it's not at a position right now in the metagame where it's going to reliably stay on the battlefield. So I think that's actually one of the bigger innovations that I made with building that deck was to get away from Benelish Marshal because it's a really powerful card, so it's very enticing to want to put it into your deck, and the mana is workable, but it's not that well positioned right now.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't want Bugler because then you get to play Tocatli Honor Guard in your sideboard, although you still have Trasani, so it's awkward in Celestia. So that might be a reason to eventually move towards Boros so that you get to play Honor Guard, which is also really good.
I do think the card's very good.
But the white aggro shell definitely has a lot of potential, and yeah, you're right. It's just more individually powerful than the Selesnya deck. The Selesnya deck looks really good if it's going all out and you're casting a March on turn 5 for like 4 or 5 tokens into a Flourish on turn 6, and they're just dead.
Yes.
Yeah. Question from Nick Yeager asks, is there any chance the Detection Tower, the land that can turn off Hexproof, should be played to deal with cards like Carnage Tyrant in colors that don't necessarily have access to a sweeper effect or an edict effect?
Honestly, probably.
Yeah.
Like right now, Field of Ruin is at an all-time low since Search for Skanta isn't really around. So you can play that as your colorless land to fight these cards as opposed to...
Might be good with Elvish Rejuvenator, even in the mirror matches, right? Like if Carnage Tyrant becomes like the big busto, you can just play like
these
two of them.
Golgari mirrors. I
play so many different
I
things.
hate the rabbit hole that it's creating. It feels like there's an answer to everything in Golgari, and there's a huge threat in Golgari. And the rabbit hole just seems like, we might be Elvish Rejuvenating for Detection Towers to beat our opponent's card. It's never gonna end.
Yeah.
It's just never gonna end. We're gonna find
can go deeper.
What if you just splash blue for Unmoored Ego? And then you get negates for the control matchup.
What if you can you do the enchant Phantasmal Image, the clone? Can you get their Carnages with that?
I don't even know.
Yeah, because you choose. It doesn't target the creature that you choose.
Yeah, so you can
Metallurgic.
turn things into Carnage Tyrants for 2 mana.
But then it can blow up the enchantment,
That's true.
and that's easy to do. So
Yeah.
off that. But
All right, Toby Maru
Unmoored
asks,
Ego.
what
Let's get out of here.
What are both of your opinions on the Boros Angels deck? I know it won the Classic last weekend, I believe. A lot of people have been talking about it. I haven't really seen it show up otherwise. I don't know how good it is, but I'm curious what y'all think.
Boros Angels, obviously a powerful deck, just filled with individually powerful cards. It is another way to go with the white aggro shell because they tend to play a Daunto Vanguard, Knight of Grace history. But I think pairing that core with the big Angels is not where you want to be right now. I think that was very good against red decks that were
And
playing
it was
Lava
pretty good
Coil,
against
Lightning Strike,
Selesnya, too.
and pretty good, and very good against Selesnya.
Yeah.
Because the big flyers, you could just ignore what they were doing, especially with Aurelia, Lyra, give Lyra Vigilance, and their attacks don't kill you
Also,
because you're at 30.
Lyra pumps Shalai and Aurelia.
Yeah, so you just gain so much life and race them in the air. So I think Boros Angels was very well positioned during that opening week, but it's very poorly positioned against Golgari because its big threats just again runs head first into the removal.
Yep.
So if you look at the Boros, if you look at the Boros deck in my article, I've got a couple siege gangs to find off of Bugler. Oh no, that was when I was thinking about playing Bugler. Can't remember what 5-drop I put in. Might have been Siege Gang Commander anyway because I initially had Bugler, but I have Rekindling Phoenix, which I think is a great flyer for them right now. And then I have some Tajiks in the 3 slot because it's so good against Deafening Clarion. Not great against Golgari, but really good against Clarion when they're trying to set that up against your 3-drop. So I would look towards other ways of supplementing the white aggro shell rather than the Angels. But it's not surprising to me that it succeeded week 1.
Yeah.
Powerful cards, good against aggro.
We got a 100-bit cheer from Drakenstern along with a question. Do y'all think we need more cards that deal with Planeswalkers in Standard, especially with Hallowfound coming next set? Obviously Teferi being a really powerful one. Also, really love the new live versus format. Thanks, Drakenstern.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
We do have a fair number of answers to Planeswalkers. We have Contempt, we have Conclave Tribunal, we have Ixalan's Binding, and we have Assassin's Trophy. The issue is...
We even have an extra one from M19 that we don't even talk about. It's just like an Ixalan's Binding.
Yeah, we have Sorcerer's Spyglass. I think the issue is most of the answers to the Planeswalkers that are direct are concentrated in Golgari, and the answers that aren't in Golgari are all enchantment-based, and Golgari is good at answering them. And Golgari has the best Planeswalkers. The problem is in the balance across colors, not in the overall numbers in the format. So Golgari just becomes the best Planeswalker deck because it has better Planeswalkers, good answers to Planeswalkers, and good answers to their answers to your Planeswalkers.
Yep.
Which is why I wanted to get aggressive to beat them because I didn't want to sit here and grind with them when I wasn't going to reliably get their Planeswalkers off the battlefield.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Like my biggest issue is, like, for example, in these control mirrors, like Assassin's Trophy, yeah, it's a fine way to deal with Vraska or something. But with things like Fine Broker and ways to get back Fine Broker, like, you're never going to permanently deal with it outside of Vraska's Contempt, because even if you're hitting it with Ixalan's Binding, Conclave Tribunal, a lot of the cards in these decks, or at least access to sideboard stuff, can destroy the enchantments to exile too. So there's not like a lot of permanent answers to these Planeswalkers, especially against the Golgari decks.
What you would want against them, I think, is Haste Flyer. like Arclight Phoenix, but it doesn't quite deal with most of the planeswalkers. You need like a Thundermaw Hellkite kind of card.
Doesn't even deal with all the planeswalkers.
Yeah,
They all get up to 6 or more.
Okay.
Yep.
So we need a flying ball lightning.
I mean, sure. Or
How much does that cost? 5?
A flying ball lightning and
Yeah.
dies that
I mean,
turn?
why don't we all
Yeah,
just play?
6/1 flying trample haste dies at the end of the turn.
Could all just play the
we have burn spells just
Immortal
that good.
Sun. Immortal
deals
Sun
6
sounds
damage.
tight.
Oh, Immortal Sun actually is pretty good, but all these decks are starting to play 4 Assassin's Trophies too.
And they have Vivian Reed, and they
Yeah.
have Vraska.
No, Vivi-
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it
okay, yeah.
shuts
The
them
planeswalkers
down.
don't.
Yeah.
But they do have 4 Assassin's Trophies.
They do have trophies.
Womp
Right.
womp.
No, honestly, I think that this is going to be a wonky format. I think it's just going to be a really weird one. It's going to be unusual, which I'm happy about. It's not as built around each deck being permanent based or, I don't know. It's going to be a unique one.
I think as long as we get to the point where the Golgari decks that are best in the mirror, clearly best, are become vulnerable to aggressive decks in order to be good in the mirror, then our format will be good. If somebody finds the right Golgari deck that can beat the mirror while still contending well against the aggressive decks, we might have a problem.
I don't think that there's ever going to be there might be a most optimal strategy for a Golgari Mirror, but the win percentages aren't going to be outrageous.
Yeah.
Because once everyone has all the information, like these are the good cards, these are the bad cards, whatever, you can't even one up that anymore because it's all about velocity and weird things getting out of control, and so it's never going to work that way.
We're never going to get to a Nash equilibrium where like you get to your thing and then you just stay with it and are never forced to change.
No, we will most likely get to that, but I don't think that. I think everyone I don't think the cannibalizing of Golgari decks is going to get any more extreme than this.
Yes. So what I'm saying is if like versions of the deck like this are still very vulnerable to the aggressive decks, and we didn't play a ton, only the one match, but it definitely seemed like it could be.
I mean, we did
we'll
play
be
a lot
fine.
of games where History Benalia came down on turn 3 every time, and I do feel like History Benalia itself is just this absurdly overpowered card compared to relative to the rest of the strategies.
Yeah.
Like when you draw that card, the games are so much different.
Yeah, and history is going to come down turn 3 probably a little over half the time.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of questions all about kind of the same stuff from Axel MTG, asking a lot about the card Star of Extinction. Do you think that has any legs in either like a ramp style deck, maybe even playing something like Gilded Lotus and just going super over the top and trying to just basically out mana these Golgari decks?
No.
All right, that's it. Brad's done. I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, like, I can
kinda
kill
like
a Gilded
Star.
Lotus a lot. Well, The problem with, like, Star of Extinction,
Star, blow up your memorial, get your board.
that's great, but I can still just find back it and do it again. Like, where are you winning? How are you winning with the Star of Extinction?
Find with fire and Banefire. Fight with fire and Banefire. Just dome them.
All right, well,
for
if
a
that's
million.
the case, then why are you playing Star of Extinction? Just,
Because you need to
clean
sweep the
Carnage
board
Tyrant?
too.
Yeah, but you're just gonna get
This is a
blown up.
Jaya Ballard deck.
Sure, and then I have all these removal spells, and I have Duress after sideboard, and that's not how Magic works. We can't just say we're just going to go over the top of decks with Duress in the format.
I mean, we have other good red cards. We got Chain Whirler. We got Rekindling Phoenix. We got
You want to play these cards along with Star of Extinction. How are you getting there?
we got Treasure Maps.
You have Runaway Steamkin, sure, but like you
Not playing Runaway Steamkin in a Star of Extinction deck.
Well, he's talking about all these cheaper creatures.
Well, you need something cheaper. We're playing Treasure Map. That ramps us a little bit.
Just kill everything.
We got a bunch of removal spells.
You do it. You do you.
Yeah, you
Oh,
do
well,
it, Ross.
I'm-
Jab Battle of Star of Extinction is not a combo, though. I just want to point
That's
that out.
true. I was hoping it was a combo. I checked this once. But Jaya Ballard and all the other cards are a combo.
The Young Tuna says 1 month later, Brad top 8's a PT with Star of Extinction. Kappa. Yeah. That's how it was when I was playing the Pyromancer's Goggles deck. Brad just was always just like, why are you playing this deck? Just play these good Eldrazi, whatever. And then, 2 weeks later, I get a text message from him just like, don't be mad.
I did text you,
All
didn't
of
I?
us are playing Pyromancer's Goggles and the Brochure. And then he top 8's with it. So,
Yeah, and it was so funny. You were watching it with Amber, right? My fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were watching it together while I was overseas playing this tournament, and I'm doing really well with it, and I think I'm like on course to top 8. And Todd's just sitting at home. He's like so mad. He's like, I'm so mad right now. And Amber's like, why? And he's like, because Brad's gonna come home and he's gonna say this deck is garbage and I'm never playing it again.
Yeah.
And I come home and I'm like, I'm never playing it again.
It was very good for for this one tournament, but the card is bad and you're bad.
Yeah.
That's just my life.
Yeah.
It's okay. A lot of people are chiming in about True Fire Captain alongside Star of Extinction. True Fire Captain is the Boros 4-drop
It
cycle.
deals 13 or 20 damage to each
It does
creature?
20 damage to every creature, so it's kind of like the Boros Reckoner Blast
is.
Attack combo,
It is.
but it does the full 20 if you assemble it.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Act 2 live forever in my memory as one of my favorite decks.
It's what we call a Mondo combo.
Yeah.
Or a Wombo combo.
I'm just gonna let Saffron Olive take that one. Just if he wants to play that on against the odds or whatever, make a YouTube video of it. I'll watch it. I like seeing those cool things. All right, we don't have a whole lot of questions. Is there? I mean, we still got like 9 minutes left.
We can wrap up a little early, can't we?
I mean, we could. We might get in trouble.
No, more questions.
Okay, we need more
Ask
questions.
us about non-Magic things.
No.
NBA
Oh,
season starts today.
Here's a good one.
Just say we have
Okay,
8 minutes to
I
kill
got it. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, here's my question to y'all, and then I'll follow up with a funny one from them. How do y'all feel about the Players' Championship coming back?
Oh yeah.
We haven't
Great.
really talked about it a whole lot on stream, and honestly, like, it was the thing that got me to go to every Open when it was there, and now
It's going to
back.
get me to go to every Open next year.
Yeah,
I'm actually really sad about that because every year that there's a Players' Champs, I was really busy on the pro circuit, and then I'd
and then
be
you
like,
still qualify anyway.
well, yeah, and then I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to every Open.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here now being like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But I don't know what I don't know what to say in 6 months.
Yeah. Kritchkin 2 wants to know which one of us three is going to win the Players' Championship.
I have a low.
I would put my money on the field.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a.
Take the field.
Well, I would take the field too.
Well,
Well,
so I've played
shotgun.
in 2. I've played in 2 of 3, and I've gotten second, and I've gotten top 4. You've played in 3, and you've gotten first, top 8,
No, first, fourth, eighth.
first, fourth, 8th. That's a pretty good rate. Ross has gotten dead last like twice, right?
I took 5th once
Ooh.
and maybe 6th, 5th or 6th.
Oh, you want a good story?
And I took
Yes.
bottom 4 another
So
time.
we have in that
Did you
tournament.
play the cube draft? The pity
no,
draft?
we did not.
So in the first Players' Champs, Gerard Fabiano and Reed Duke were already locked for the top 4, and there was 2 playoff matches. BBD versus Ross was first, and then it was me versus Tom Ross. So they play their match. BBD wins it. Keep in mind, I'm really good friends with BBD. And Ross is sitting at the table, and I don't know Ross that much. He didn't move here yet. I didn't know him that well.
Yeah, I started talking a lot.
He's sitting in my seat ready for my match, playing for thousands of dollars, where I'm in an intense moment for myself. And he's sitting there ranting at me for 2 minutes about
I
his
was
match.
in my own world.
I know, but I'm like, Ross, get out of my seat, I have to play. And you're like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm glad he won. Ross, get out of my seat, I have to play. And he keeps talking, I'm like, Ross, get out of my seat. I need to play.
Yeah. I had no idea what was going on around me.
Yeah.
I was very focused on my match.
Yeah.
I literally had no idea why you were standing there. Like I was
Yeah,
that focused
yeah.
on
And I was like,
Darkness, my old
I wanted to be nice, but I was just like,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
I was rooting for him.
yeah, there's
I'm happy how that went.
All right. Well, I'm sure we all have mostly fond memories about the Players' Champs. I know
Oh,
I'm
it's gonna be
super
great.
excited to it's going to create.
And anyone that plays, that's watching, that plays on the circuit, that thinks about the little boost, like, if you try really hard, it's very tangible. If you go to the tournaments, it's a tangible event, and I mean, you have to do well. Like, you have to do well. But
man, it turned Ross into a star. You know,
I honestly,
I don't know how that happened.
without sounding like I'm just like, pumping the own brand. I think the Players' Champs has been my favorite tournament to play, and that's why I came back for the third. I went for the first one. I tried for the first one just for the, it was the first one. I wanted to be there. But for the third one, I just wanted to go back because it was a great tournament. It's a fun tournament. It's run really well.
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Worlds flies some of our judges that just live here there because they're the best judges.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just here.
Yeah.
No,
They
we
just have to
we-
walk from the back into the front.
We have a
run
great
the tournament.
staff. Everybody just sort of gets together. You submit your deck list early, so there's usually a day where nobody's super stressed out. I think every single year there's been a Star Wars movie that comes out right around that time, so
It
we just
has,
go
yeah.
see Star Wars.
Yeah.
It is a fun week.
Yeah.
And also, we have a giant party. usually.
Yep.
It's not sanctioned by StarCityGames.com, but it's
No.
sanctioned by me and my wife. we usually have a good time. All right, well, that is going to wrap it up today for Versus Live. I'll let y'all take us out.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. I think the lesson to take home from here is that Carnage Tyrant does look really good against Control and Golgari Mirrors, but builds like this do look like they have a potential weakness to History of Benalia, more aggressive shells, and we should start looking that way. And so let's do so.
Yeah, I think we had results here. Sometimes we play matches here, and it's only one match, and some wonky stuff happens, and it's hard to take a lot away from it. I honestly think that these matches were very indicative of how things should go out. It makes a lot of sense how things played out.
Yep.
And I think we all agreed there. So I agree wholeheartedly with Brad. I think this is the future of Standard for Week 3. I think you're going to see people playing Golgari decks that are behind and losing a bunch of mirrors. You're going to see people who are beating up on Golgari and Control, but maybe losing to aggro, and these aggro decks rising. They might have to work hard to beat Control, but like History is great against these Control decks, and a Danto Vanguard if they're on Jeskai and not.
Yeah.
Well, I saw.
They have to start respecting
I
that.
saw Todd lose to a Danto Vanguard immediately. I've never seen a 2-mana card be like, "Oh, well, I'm dead."
Well, I mean, I hadn't played against a Danto Vanguard at all.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, so my removal was like Lightning Strike and Justice Strike and Deafening Clarion. This card just 21'd me. It just obliterated
Danto
me.
Vanguard, the new pack rat.
Yeah, if you start seal away my Danto Vanguard, I've got Knight of Autumn. That's
Yeah.
another good reason to be Celestia.
Yep,
You have the answers to your Danto Vanguard, so
Nice.
I'm ready. I think we hit the nail on the head here today.
I'm going to go home and play Ross's deck. That's all.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. We will be back on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, same time, every Tuesday and Thursday of each week. On Thursday, you can expect Ross Merriam to be battling against Todd Anderson, and I will be in the booth taking over Todd's job.
First time for Brad in the booth.
It is, and it might be the last.
We're going to dub Thursday Brad's Revenge.
Yes.
I'm not looking forward to it. But I hope you do.
I've taken enough grief for Brad that it's just sort of it's
Yeah,
there.
yep.
So I'm ready. Bring it on.
All right, but thank you, everyone, and we will see you on Thursday.